Hey,
Hey there,
hey,
my name's Connor.
say that again?
We're talking over each other. Let's take turns as justice once.
Hey,
My
my
name's
name's
Monica.
Monica. My name's Monica.
My name's Ewan.
My name's April.
My name's Connor.
This is a play. Kind of. Also not a play.
Let's not worry about what this kind of thing is called, what we might have started to call it.
This thing we've always done when we get together. Whatever we start to call together.
And some of us watch and listen, some of us speak and listen.
Whatever we're calling this right now, this is one of those. It's meant to take place wherever it takes place.
It's meant to take place here.
I mean, you're wherever you are, and everyone else is wherever they are, joining our heres to make a single here, bolting them edge to edge on a screen like self-assembly plastic storage boxes for human heads.
Or maybe, just maybe, that we're all in the same big box, all in the same air.
That I can look you in your actual eye, your actual human glistening. Stick it to the touch, see it blink, human eye.
Imagine that. If that's not what we're doing. If we're still in the heads and boxes stage. Imagine us all in that space. How it's going to feel when it finally happens. Because it will happen.
And if it has happened, if we are all together in a room with air and eyes and sounds, all the sounds of bodies that microphones don't notice and speakers don't transmit.
Take a moment to think back to that time, that lost age of months or weeks or even just days ago, when we couldn't do this, or when our bodies were quiet or at least only made noises we could hear.
When maybe the only clue to our actual existence, our real world existence, was when we froze, or glitched, or had to leave and return while we stayed in the same place.
Weird, isn't it? How whatever way we're doing this, how whatever way we've been doing this, it can so quickly become the only way to do it. The only way we've ever done it. I guarantee you,
Even though some things might be different, the distance between us, or if we're in a room, the tension in the room that was never there, the lag of different broadband speeds, the colour and the closeness of the walls around us. We'll still find it hard to imagine that we did this any other way, or that the way we are doing it will change.
Anyway, this play, this thing, this poem, what we're calling it, what's happening doesn't matter. But apart from that, and the name of it is Hold Out Your Hand.
That's what was printed at the top of the document they gave us. It was in bold to seem important, to say this is the title.
But we're not so into that hold out your hand. I mean, we get it. We're not stupid. We get that it was supposed to sound hopeful about connection and contact, but it's a bit thin, isn't it? But on the one side, it's a bit full of the optimism, like something you say to a child crossing the street or going down an unfamiliar road to a funeral or something. It feels kind but unfocused, almost like a compromise. And for example, I mean, I'm sure it's a man who made this, right?
Yeah, it's a man.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd agree that there's no way he can really get into our heads. There's a lot he doesn't know, a lot he doesn't want to get.
A lot he thinks, but he knows is wrong.
And the rest of it, he's making up. He couldn't know. How could he? The lowest point of this year for me was going into lockdown.
And the highest point for me this year was getting rid of all the negativity and focusing on the positive things.
I mean, he couldn't know that. Could he?
When we're saying this, when you're hearing this, we're all still a bit spooked. Still a bit scared of touching each other. Everyone just feeling a little like we've been walking through a corridor that's lined with cheap carpet and we're about to touch a door handle.
Most of us have learned to move through our own lives like ghosts, as the world has changed around us in ways it never has before, ways we have to find words to describe.
It was like the door slamming shut behind you and you realizing you're not locked out. You're locked in.
No, that's not it. It was like a montage in film, except rather than the story moving on, it repeated the same few frames over and over.
No, that's not it either. It was like waiting for a bus, except the timetable was blank and all the numbers on the board kept changing.
I think we should try this one ourselves. It was like sitting in a dark room, not knowing what you're in for.
It was like eating cold soup. You know something's off, but you just can't tell.
It was like everyone you loved was masked by thick fog, but you couldn't get close enough to recognize them.
That's what it was like. Maybe it still is.
So, anyone else been having really weird dreams? Don't worry, we're not going to tell you about our dreams. Except, I had this dream.
We literally just
We
said.
literally just said this wasn't gonna happen.
Just one. Let me tell you just one. So, I had this dream where I was just standing in a field, and then the floor caved in. I just fell and fell. You know that feeling where you jolt awake? It just didn't happen. I just kept falling.
That's not it. I had this dream where my house was getting attacked by giant ants.
Well, I can't really give much of an opinion on this because I didn't really have a lot of weird dreams. I guess I did have one where I was sitting in a dark room for a while.
Look, I know this guy's no good at titles, but maybe, just maybe, he can give us a shared dream to tell. Maybe we can trust him that much to give us one useful dream.
It's worth a try.
So, I had this dream where I was walking outside, but it wasn't my outside, as in not what I'd see if I went out the door. It was an outside that differed in certain, very important respects from anywhere I'd normally find myself. It was huge, no streets or houses. The sky, not just a ribbon, stretched out over a road glimpsed between the artificial horizons made by buildings closing in on either side. It was bigger than landscapes without buildings, wider than moorland, more distance than the glimpse you sometimes get of distant hills. The ground was flat, not grass flat or rock flat or artificial car park flat, but the flat of an afternoon spent looking out of a window at a leafless winter tree. And the ground, the colour of the light fading on a wasted day, and the sky thrown over like an overwashed bedsheet. And me, not even in the middle of this, 'cause there is no middle if you can't see the edges. It was just me in my body. It was definitely me. It was absolutely definitely me, wearing my clothes, my height, my hair, my skin, standing on the empty ground in a colourless dream version of my everyday shoes. And I stood there for a long time.
Is that it? Is that the dream?
No, I was just doing a long time.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I stood there for a long time, and I thought, do you ever think in dreams? It's really difficult. But I thought the world's gone, and then I thought about if that was true. And in that moment, it felt true. Then really, what's been lost? I didn't really feel grief. I didn't really feel happiness. There were many things I'd miss, but there were many things I was glad to lose. I guess it kind of balanced out into a state of mind, like the landscape looked. I was sad to lose being known in some part of the city, feeling not knowing, feeling unknown. But I was glad to lose the eyes of strangers on me. I was glad to lose having to think about how I was going to dress, the worry of what might be thought of me. But I was sad to lose reason to get dressed up at all. I was sad to lose some kinds of touch, but I was glad to lose other kinds of touch.
I was glad to lose the people that I didn't really care about.
I was sad to lose my communication with my friends.
I was glad to lose some of the outside pressures.
But I was sad to lose the people that I really did care about.
But most of all, I think it was control. I was sad to lose control. It was like the whole world was a mug that had just been dropped. You know that moment where you've just made a drink for yourself and everything's right in your life. Then, for some reason, for some completely stupid reason, the mug's not in your hand and your fingers flash through the empty air. And for a frozen fraction of a second, the whole thing's laid out before you. There's nothing you can do but watch it spinning progress down to the floor. Well, the way that you feel in that moment, like a bystander at an accident, except the accident's your life. That's the way the dream fell, standing there in all that emptiness.
Except, and this is important, except this isn't real life. In real life, the mug was dropped somewhere unknown, the other side of the planet. Nature had made us a cup of tea, and we had fumbled it. We were standing in the universe's kitchen, watching everything we carried fall tumbling to the tiles.
The universe on tile 4, is it?
Caught in a frozen moment of not knowing, waiting to see if the rules we lived by, the structures we thought were solid, so much we'd forgotten were there, waiting to see if they would break or bounce.
Out of our control, nothing we could say to stop the fall. But in this dream, in this strange world, the falling, the feeling of it, was not an action taken or not taken, was not an accident, was not the world happening without me. I realized as I stood there, it was a choice. In the dream, there was this strange feeling that I had no control. But I was in control of it, the feeling of not being in control, which meant I could choose. I could choose not to feel it. It was just me. No rules, no landscape, no rocks, no responsibilities, no work to do. Everything waiting, everything suspended. It was only me there, meaning no matter what my life outside the dream was like, everything in it was my choice. And I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to that at all. I just stood there, waiting for something to happen. And slowly, it crept up on me. Fearful, yeah, but also kind of thrilling.
Nothing was going to happen.
Nothing is going to happen.
Nothing is going to happen.
Unless I made it happen. And so I held out my hand.
Oh, right, that's the title. It makes sense, I guess, but still don't like it.
Anyways, I held out my hand and absolutely nothing happened. I guess I thought once I known what was in my power, I figured it'd come easy, like hold out your hand and bam, there's a fountain.
A fountain?
I don't know, it was the first thing I thought of.
Fountain? Okay, bam, there's a teapot.
Bam, there's a dog.
Bam, there's a hat.
I think I thought it flowed like film magic, like game magic. Like the power in me was point and click, but it didn't. I had to really think about it. I had to start off simple, which seemed a bit unfair. It was my dream after all, but apparently I didn't make the rules. I collected myself, I held out my hand, and thought, blue. It doesn't get simpler than that. Blue sky, I thought, and I closed my eyes open them. And something had almost happened. There was still flatness. Still nothing, but maybe, just maybe, a slightly bluer nothing than before. Thing is, I could feel the power in me, like a spring. Both kinds of spring, I mean, the water kind and the metal kind. Like it was gushing out, but also winding up, and the way to be in charge of both of those things is to use them both at once. Think simple, think blue. Let it flow out, but also keep the tension, the direction by answering the question. What kind, I thought? Blue. But this time, I thought blue of sky. And not just any sky. All skies are blue. But the blue of a sky seen in summer when you've been up all night. Maybe you've climbed up onto a roof. You're at the highest point in your surroundings, and you know the sun's on its way, but not for a while. No clouds or anything, no lights on in any of the houses. And just at the end of dark, there's a blue that says the morning's coming. That blue, I thought, that one. And so I stretched my fingers wide, closed my eyes, and opened my eyes. And the whole world, the whole blue in my head was the whole world around me. Still simple, featureless and flat. But that hopeful, gentle blue of almost morning was laid across within it, like it had always been there. And it felt strange.
This is all sounding a bit weird.
I know, this is all sounding like some mystical experience.
But it wasn't that. It wasn't the strange feeling of magic or fantasy of extra dimensions and portals of alien worlds opening up. It was the strangeness of this world, even this simple world. This simple landscape from inside me, being within my control, being mine to command. One decision, that was mine.
And then?
It was a dream.
Yeah, it was a dream, but what happened then?
I woke up. Same room in the same house.
Same house on the same street.
Same street in the same town.
Same town in the same country.
Same river flowing into the same sea.
Same carpet, same curtains that don't quite close.
Same splash of paint on the back of the door.
Same clothes in the same pile.
Same sun at the same angle, lighting up the same spot on the same poster.
Same sounds from outside.
Same voices from inside.
Same voice inside me.
Same day repeating again and again.
The same planet crawling through the same space.
Same phone in my hand telling me a half-fake information.
The same hysterical guesswork.
Same words spilling from the same faces.
Same opinions on the same subjects.
Same arguments over the same action.
The same stale food chewed over by the same tired mouths.
While the same stale powered from in the background like the noise of a distant factory.
Turns out, the way the dream feels, it isn't a dream.
And I think that's what we're here to say. As far as I can tell, that feeling, being swept up in all that, in events you can't control as the weather patterns change and the hospitals fill up, in that future world you wanted seems to melt under your hands. Being swept up in all that, in all your smallness, while being so very still, it turns out it's not some imaginary landscape, it's the way life feels right now.
In a year from now, I want to be skating.
In a year from now, I want to do things with my friends.
In a year from now, I want to be able to go places without the fear of forgetting a mask.
But now, right now, not someday some guy's writing this in the far corner of some dark city, but now, and through this screen or through all these screens, that future world still feels untouchable.
We're not despairing. Please don't think that we're despairing. We're just saying, parts of the life that we still want still feel like dreams, still feel lost in the landscape we're standing in, wondering what happens next.
But we remember. We're still remembering the spring and the spring. The power to hold tight and the power to let go. How, in the dream, we knew that the world didn't just act on us. We could act on it. That there's a focus we can find inside ourselves and then together.
Hold out your hand. There's power in it.
Hold out your hand.
Still don't like that title.
I know, but we've come this far. And anyway, we've not just been handed it, we can do what we like. We can make whatever this is and can make it into something of our own. Carry on our own terms. Are you ready? Here goes. Whether we're saying these words while we breathe the same air or while we look at different screens.
If we can't say what we want this world to be, then we're alone, trapped in our own dreams.
Hold out your hand. This is how it starts. The trick of it is realizing we don't have to dream it. Hold out your hand. Let it break through the monster, through the distance between us.
Touch doesn't have to be touched to count as connection.
Hold out your hand. We're still in that dream, still in that landscape, even when we're awake feeling alone. No roads to guide us, no markers to guide us, no history to guide us. But hold out your hand.
Feel the power in it. Remind yourself that this land, this uncharted land, is as much yours as it is anyone's. Put a mark out in the ground.
It doesn't have to be nearby. Somewhere you'd like to be a year from now. Somewhere you'd like to be 10 years from now. Some change you'd like to see tomorrow. It doesn't matter. The important thing is, it starts with you.
Even in these times of isolation, even in these times of confusion.
Even in these times of repetition.
Even in these times of repetition.
There is togetherness.
And change.
And a choice in what we do with it.
One decision that is mine.
So we're sharing this, to keep being together.
Let go of the pressure.
Keep my train of thought.
To let go of the anxiety bottled up.
Keep the memories and keep moving forward. Let go of the anger you have bottled up. Keep the kindness. Let go of the fear of isolation. Keep the same smile of listening behind a mask. Let go of the past and appreciate the future. Keep the lessons.
So, what do we do now?